This
but we have a
conference
lot more
will
things
now
to
be recorded.
we have a lot more things to discuss actually. So these are the key certifications which are there in AWS. You can see that we have a certification starting from the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner. Then we have a certification called as the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate or Associate level certifications. Then we have a professional level certifications. Then we have a specialty level certifications. So we have a lot of certifications in AWS as of now. But understand that more than the number of certifications, what matters is actually how much you have the hands-on expertise on this. Okay, when you work in a cloud platform, the primary thing which matters is actually how much hands-on you have in what all things we are discussing. Okay, that's it. First of all, team, this in this course we are planning to focus on this particular certification called as AWS Certified Security Specialty. But definitely for doing this certification or having, or if you want to understand the concepts clearly, you must have a knowledge in at least the associate level certifications. That's why we basically merge this course with this AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate as well. So this course is a combination of the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate plus the AWS Certified Security Specialty, but focusing more on the perspective of security. Okay, that's a whole thing. And while discussing the session, team, while in the session, you can ask any doubts. Okay, the whole thing is how much more you can ask your doubts, that much more you can get the expertise. Okay, that's it. This is a completely interactive session. I want all of you to ask your doubts if you have any, and feel free to ask any of your queries or concerns. Okay, that's it. So team, previously what happens is when you want to do a certification in AWS, you have a lot of prerequisites. Except this associate level certifications, if you want to go for either a professional certification or specialty certification, you have a lot of prerequisites. Like for example, let's say if I want to go to a professional certification, first of all, I have to pass the associate level certification. And if you want to go to a specialty certification, you have to go to the professional certification. So we have a hierarchy like that. But now what happens is in a person can do any AWS certification without any kind of predefined knowledge. Okay, that's it. Like for example, I don't have to get certified on associate level if you, in order to get certified on specialty. So we can directly go to any certification we want without any kind of predefined or prerequisite certifications. Okay, that's it. But still the skill is definitely mandatory. That's why we combine this course into two things. That's the associate level architect and the specialty. Okay, that's it. And what I am just trying to tell you is, so when we go for this course, okay, let me write down here. When we go for this course, the first thing I want to tell you is, so I told you, right, we have a AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate, plus we have a AWS Certified Security Specialty. Okay, but what we have to understand is we have two ways to do this course. Okay, we actually have two ways to do this course. First of all, just go through some materials, go through some practice, the questions like dumps and all. Okay, go through some practice questions and all, and you will be able to pass the exam. That is the first way. Like for example, we just randomly go through some materials, understand the concepts, and then we do some practice questions, and you will be able to pass the exam. The second way is we will get in-depth knowledge on how this works in the real time. Like for example, let's say when we discuss about data security, when we discuss about application security, when we discuss about the compliance, when we discuss about the uh, various server deployments, so understand those things in a more hands-on practical way. More than a certification level knowledge, you have to understand how this works or how this thing can be done in a more hands-on perspective. And once you're done, or once you have that hands-on perspective, then if you go for an exam or if you go for a certification, it can be definitely good for you. But more than, what we have to understand is, more than a certification, what we have to get for the industry is the real-time skills. So how much more you can get the real-time hands-on expertise, that much more you will be able to get into a better profile on this cloud platform. Okay, that's it. And team, any queries till now? Any queries you want to ask me on this? Feel free to ask any of your queries, team. Any queries, anyone? You can unmute and ask. Okay, no problem.
Uh, Hi, Krish, Rajat this side.
Tell me, bro.
Uh, yeah, hello. So, I just need to understand one thing. Like as you said, we can directly go for specialty certification. So, till
Yes.
to what extent we need to understand the associate level course, or is it like a complete course we need to understand, or complete knowledge we
No
have
need,
to
no
have,
need.
or yeah,
No need, no need. So I'll tell you how it works. Actually, when I talk about this certification, most people get concerned that, so Krish, we have to study all these things separately. Actually, nothing is there like separate. So for example, let's say almost 70% topics you have in this AWS Associate Level certification is coming in the specialty, but in a more
okay,
detailed way. That's all. So what happens is, if you study for this particular certification, if you want, you can go for this also. If you work some extra, you'll be able to definitely go for the this architect also. It won't be a trouble for you. At the same time, what I am recommending you is, you can directly go for the specialty. See, more than a certification, when you go for when you go to an industry, when you go to the real time scenarios, what happens is, these certifications are actually it's like a visiting cards where you have to start. Okay, once you want to start a career, or let's say if you want to swap to a company, or if you want to switch your job role and all, the certification can become just a starting point. That's all. But except that,
yeah,
nothing have to be done with the certification. More than the certification, seriously, your is what matters, team. How much more you can get your skill, how much more you can get the hands on, how much more you're able to understand the changes, that is what matters in real time. See, I'll give an example. When I started my career in cloud computing, I basically finished my associate level certification. I went to professional, I went to specialty. But more than all these things, what benefited me is my real time skills. So when a customer or when a company is approaching me for a particular requirement, I'm able to solve it based on the things I studied. So that is what we have to do. Like once you finish this course, you must be able to manage the security requirements of a company, like ensure the devices or these things in the cloud platform is done in a secure manner and everything. Okay, that's what matters.
yeah. Actually that is the whole reason actually why I have opted for this course, because my
Hmm.
role currently is like I'm already information security officer in my
Hmm.
organization, but the recent role that has been assigned to me is like to act as a security consultant for cloud-based projects which our company has recently started.
Perfect.
And most of the deployments are happening in AWS.
Hmm.
So that's what I want to understand. Like now, you already mentioned there's no full time, like full knowledge of security
Yeah.
solution architect is needed. Um, but yeah, to working knowledge is still required to um,
Yeah.
complete.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got
Krish,
it.
Krish,
Yeah, Jimmy. Tell
like
me,
you
bro.
said, um, see, once you complete AWS solution architect, then you can go for a specialty, right? And is this
You
a
can directly go for specialty. You can directly go for specialty, because if you spend your time on this, both the certifications, it will not give you any worth it. That's why. Okay. I strongly
so? What is the
recommend that
difference on professional level certification?
yeah, I'm coming to that. So what happens is, see, let's say team, when you go for a architect associate or architect professional, okay, it is covering almost everything in the cloud platform. I'll give you a simple example, team. I'll give you a simple example here. So I started with the cloud computing on 2000 10 11 time. I'll just show you an example here. Just give me a second. Don't worry, team, we are going to discuss everything from the very basics. I'm not going to go in between something. Don't worry about that. Just a sec. Okay, team. So this is what you call as the AWS Management Console. If you want to manage the AWS platform, if you want to work with the AWS platform, this is what you call as the AWS Management Console. This is from where we basically start all the services. Okay. See, you can see that here that we have a lot of services here. See this, we have a lot of services. All these things you see here are various kinds of AWS services. But what we have to understand here is these services are not designed for a particular type of person or particular job role. This is designed for every industry requirements. Like for example, let's say if I'm a person who is working in machine learning, these services are designed for my requirement only. If I'm a person who is working on web hosting, I have some different level of services. Like the same way, we have different service for different job roles and requirements. And when it comes to the part of this particular certification, when you go for AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate Certification, you are covering some 70% of these topics, or let's say, yeah, some 70% of this particular topics. And the same topics we are covering in a more detailed way in this particular professional certification. These topics which we study in the AWS Associate level certification, we are studying a little more in depth in the AWS professional level certification. That's what happens. And in the specialty, instead of advancing your skills on all the topics, we are focusing on some particular things like security or networking or machine learning. We are specializing on those kind of services which we can provide security for it. Okay, that's it. So definitely, like so KRISH, do we have to go to every certification? Definitely not. A person who learns the AWS Certified Associate Certification and the AWS Certified Security Specialty Certification in a more hands-on way will be able to understand or crack the exam on AWS Professional as well. Like you will be able to, if you work a little more harder, you'll be able to definitely crack the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Professional as well without any additional training. Okay, that's it. Clear, bro? Chino is clear?
Thanks, Krish.
Yep. So any other doubts, team? Feel free to ask any of your queries, team. Okay. So the next thing which I want to discuss is, see team, the next question which most people ask is, so KRISH, exactly, yeah, it's all about learning based on your job role, exactly. But I'll tell you some more thing, team. So people ask me, KRISH, is it enough for us to do the AWS Certified Security Specialty for being a security consultant in cloud? Is it enough for us to get an AWS certification to work in AWS? So how can we ensure that we have in our company we have AWS only? But understand that when you go to a company, let's say for example, now you study AWS. Okay, now you study AWS and you spend a lot of time, you become an expert in it. And after that, when you go to a company, what happens if they have AWS and Azure? What happens if they have AWS plus Alibaba? See, a lot of cloud providers are there, right? So what happens if you have a multi-cloud strategy in your company? I'll give an example, team. So team, how in India, how many of you people have two mobile phone connections? How many of you people have two mobile phone connections? Mobile numbers?
Yeah, I guess this is a common thing nowadays. So most of the people are keeping.
Right, it's very common, right? Why it's like that? What are the reasons for that?
Yeah, one reason is we come apart
Redundancy.
we have redundancy. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, one for work, one for personal. Yeah, it's for redundancy. And some people say that, okay, Krish, basically I'm getting a more active internet connection from this particular mobile phone provider. I'm getting a voice clarity from a different provider. So we have reasons, right? We have different reasons for that. Like the same way, whenever you choose a solution for your company, okay, the first point we have to understand, team, whenever we choose a solution for the company, any company, I'm saying, like for example, now you're working in a company, and when you choose a solution for your company, the solutions must be able to exactly meet the company's business requirements. The first point, that's the first point to understand. Whenever we are choosing a solution, it can be cloud, it can be VMware, it can be any technology. Whenever I'm planning to choose a solution for my business, it must be able to directly support my business goals, right? So what happens is, see, definitely I know that AWS is definitely a good cloud platform. And how can I say AWS is good? I can say AWS is good only if they are able to support my business requirements, right? I can say AWS is perfectly fit for my for me if it is able to meet my business requirements. So nowadays the companies, what they do is, when you go to a company, you can see that they will use some services, they will go for AWS, some services they will go for Azure, some services they will go for some other providers. I'll give an example. I have seen that in AWS, these are some of the best services. For example, okay, these are some of the best services. But at the same time, when you go to Azure, I have seen that hosting a website on Azure can be a bit more easier for you. So for every cloud platform, they have some services which can give you some more benefits. So what happens? The company will always choose a cloud service provider or providers based on the business requirements. So what happens is, definitely when you go to a company, almost 40% of the companies using the cloud platform is using something called as a multi-cloud strategy. Okay, when we say that companies are using a multi-cloud strategy, the first doubt most people ask me is, so Krish, do we have to learn Azure again after this, or do we have to go to a course on Azure, or do we have to do a training on GCP after this? See, if you start doing that, like if you plan to go for every certification training, what happens is, by the end you'll not be, you'll not be able to work in industry. It will keep on changing, right? So what I'm telling you is, when you study AWS, okay, AWS started in 2006. Okay, AWS actually started in 2006, and all the other cloud providers you see nowadays, like Azure, Alibaba, IBM, Oracle, so all the other cloud service provider you see in the public cloud market now is only after this particular cloud platform. So Azure came into picture in 2008, and the GCP came by 2010. So every cloud provider came into this particular market after this 2006 or 2008, we can say. So what happens? Because of that reason, every cloud service provider is having at least a part of this, they are trying to copy this AWS. I'll give an example, team. Let's say one company just made a mobile phone which is having a touchscreen facility. So what happens? Other companies were trying to copy that, right? Like the same way, what happens when AWS launched a public cloud platform, other companies were trying to just copy it for a long time. And all the cloud platform, whether if you go to any cloud platform, the services they are providing is very much similar. The only difference is certain features, certain enhancements, except that all the other cloud provider features will be almost same like AWS. So what we have to understand here is, when you study AWS, you can study the other cloud platforms by yourself. If you do it properly, if you plan it as per the way I'm saying, when you learn AWS in detail, other cloud platforms you can learn by yourself, and it's a mandatory thing. So once you finish the certification, or once you finish this course, I strongly recommend that you do a Azure certification. Not like, don't go for certification, just understand the concepts. So tomorrow in your company, if you have an Azure requirement, if you have a GCP requirement, you'll be able to work on it very effectively because you already know AWS. And the other cloud platforms are very easy when compared to AWS. So what happens is, learn AWS first, get the hands-on part of it, be an expert in that, then you will be able to work in Azure or Google or any cloud platforms very easily with minimal time to learn. Okay, that's it. That's why I'm saying that AWS is the primary thing which we have to learn. But as we discussed, more than just a certification always comes in the second only, team. More than certification, what happens nowadays is the skill set. I'll give a simple one more example for this. Okay, I'll give you one more example for this. Let's say, for example, previously what happens is, we go to an interview. Example, I go to an interview. The interviewer will ask you a lot of questions, right? Like, for example, what is this, what is that, how it works. So like the same way, this interviewer will ask you some predefined questions, right? At the same time, now what happens is, more than asking the questions, they are trying to ask you, they will give you a scenario, they will give you a real-time scenario, and they want you to know how do you solve it. Or sometimes they will give you the cloud console and tell you to troubleshoot. So they want to have people, companies nowadays want to have people which is having a hands-on expertise. That is a whole thing. See, let's say, for example, I take a person who is certified, but if he don't know anything, what is the problem? My company will get affected, right? So almost all the companies in the worldwide nowadays, I have seen that they are preferring your hands-on expertise, hands-on skills. So that is what we have to acquire from this course completely. Okay, that's it. And so, Krish, do we have to learn anything after this? So what we have to learn after this, or what we have to learn additionally, is purely based on your job profile or what you want to plan. So what we can do is, for that particular things, we can have a one-to-one call. We can basically discuss that, but that's purely based on your cloud, profile and all. Okay, that's it. And team, I'm planning to create a WhatsApp group. You can do one thing. You can send me a hi on WhatsApp. I can share my number in the chat box here. This is my number. You can send me a hi, and I'll create a WhatsApp group and add all of you, so that I can share the materials and everything on there. Okay, that's it. So any other queries, team? Anyone? Any other queries you have? Feel free to ask any of your queries, team. Be completely interactive. Ask whatever queries you're having. How much more you ask, how much more you interact, how much more you learn. That is the whole thing. And this course is not designed to make you like, every day 4 hours. I don't want to make it so boring for you. So what we are planning is, so every day 3 hours, I'll show you the topics, and I'll show you or I'll discuss the topics, and I'll show you the real-time hands-on scenarios. Plus, last 1 hour, I want to do the labs I am giving you. Okay, so 3 hours, I'll teach you, and I'll show you the labs. And last 1 hour, I want you to do the labs by yourself. And every day for the first 20 minutes, I'll recap or I'll recollect the labs you have done in this 1 hour. Okay, that's a whole plan. And more than what we are just memorizing, I can give you some scenarios where you have to solve it by yourself. Okay, that's it. So any other queries, team? Anyone, any queries? Hope it's good, clear to go. Perfect. Others?
Hey, KRISH.
Yeah, tell me, Lokesh. Hi.
Hi. So for the labs, do we need to prepare anything on our side? For example, do we need any VMs ready, or are we going to practice everything in AWS Management Console?
Yeah, the only prerequisite you want to have is you must have a AWS account. Don't worry, I'll show you how to create an account. So the only thing you have to keep in mind is you need to have a AWS account for doing this labs. Okay, and I'll show you how to create an account in AWS. It's free of cost. I'll show you how to create an account in AWS. Plus, so in these batches, I have introduced some more labs. Like for example, in the real-time scenarios in the organizations, you can see that they may have a lot of AWS accounts. Like for example, let's say in the company, one of the company I'm supporting, they are having 60 plus AWS accounts as of now. Okay, in one of the company I'm supporting, Kukan, just send me hi on WhatsApp. I'll just add all of you. Okay, don't worry. Yeah. So what happens, team? In one of the company I'm supporting, I'm having more than 60 plus AWS accounts there. So when you have a multi-account strategy like this, how do you manage it? So for showing you that kind of demos also, I suggest you create one more AWS account for that particular time period only. It's very easy. It's free of cost. It won't charge you anything, team. If you strictly follow the instructions I'm giving you, and if you properly remove all the resources you have created after you've done the labs, there will not be any cost involved. The maximum cost which can incur by this training is like let's say almost 500 rupees INR. Maximum, that is a maximum. If you delete everything properly, which is the way I am saying, okay, and mostly it will be less than this. Sometimes it will be zero also, but the only thing is make sure you do the labs, you finish it, you close the lab, like delete everything you created. Okay, that's it. And this is the only prerequisite, except that nothing else is there. So just make sure you create an AWS account. I'll show you how to create that, and once you create it, you will be able to do all the labs. Okay, that's it. Clear?
Yep, thank you.
Yep. Team, any other queries you have, team? And every Monday before evening, you will get the recordings in your email from my team members. You will get the recording every Monday by evening. Those Saturday and Sunday recordings you will get on Monday evening you will get. And make sure you go through the recording at least once more. The reason is because when you go through the recordings once more, you will get your concepts more and more clear and more memorable. So make sure that you go through the concepts very clearly. Okay, that's it. And the materials, don't buy any textbook. Okay, team, so don't buy any textbook or any materials. I will share you all the materials you need for this training. Do not buy anything. And if you definitely want to have a hard copy, like for example, some people actually want to have some that hard copy textbooks, so in that case you can buy, but otherwise don't go for any textbooks. I can give you whatever things you want. Okay, that's it. Yeah, tell me.
Hi, KRISH.
Tell me.
KRISH, like I'm having a lag actually. Like your voice is like broken somewhere.
Okay.
Is that like happening to me or it's happening to everyone? I'm not sure.
Yeah, team, anyone facing the same issue? Like my voice is lagging for anyone?
For me, it's not.
Okay.
I
Okay,
think it
so
might be an internet issue with.
yeah, no problem, bro. Just reconnect, bro. If you have any issues like this, please reconnect. Okay. I'll wait, bro. Reconnect. Okay. So team, if you're facing any kind of issues for this audio and all, please reconnect. Okay. That's it. Please just close the session and restart it again. It will be done. So that's the team.
KRISH,
Tell
sorry,
me, bro. Tell
KRISH
me.
is Ponsana here.
Uh-huh.
I only seem like I'm able to get to this training on the phone app, but I can't on the laptop or on the computer.
Yep. Okay.
Is there something that I need to do?
Nothing. You can just download the GoToMeeting application in your laptop, whether if it's a Windows laptop or Mac or whatever it is. We can download that GoToMeeting application and you can join from your laptop itself. And definitely, please don't join from phone. If you join from phone, you will not be able to see everything clearly. So make sure you join from your laptop. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying, but I'm okay. I'll keep on trying, right? Thank you.
No problem. Just first of all, you download that tool. Okay. First of all, download the GoToMeeting application. Then you try to click on that link. That's it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep. Others? Yep. So team, today our plan is, okay, today and tomorrow I'll take you to the cloud fundamentals. We have to teach what is cloud. Okay. I'll teach you cloud basics, and then from next week onwards, we are completely focusing on the security part. And I'm not going to be in a hurry for these 2 days. From next week onwards, we have a lot of things to do. So make sure you do with me completely. Okay. Do all the labs I'm giving you, because how much more you do the labs, that much your hands-on expertise can be. Okay. That's it. Don't consider this as a certification training. More than a certification is definitely very easy to pass, but more than certification, what matters is your skill set. So how much more, do it maximum, get your skills maximum. Okay, that's what we have to do in this.
Hey,
Yeah, I
Chris,
hope all of you, tell me.
Yeah, I have a question. So when you stated that you're going to be providing the material and stuff, is that like also the lab as well, or it's just the
Yeah,
activity?
actually for the labs, okay, so for the labs, what I'm doing is I'm trying to give you the labs. It's from my experience. Actually, it's not the predefined labs I'm giving you. I'm giving you a lot of labs from my experience. So from the topics we are discussing, you'll be able to do the labs. Don't worry. Okay, that's it. Only some labs, okay, so only some labs you will get some confusion. So that, see, let's say team, if I give you some 10 questions for the labs today, if you're not able to do it, just try to do everything. Okay, let's say, for example, if you're not able to do it, it's 100% fine. I'll show you definitely in the next session. Okay, that's it.
Are you going to be providing a lab manual too, or no?
Actually not. The reason is because the AWS console is something what will keep on changing. So if I prepare a lab manual also, it will not be there for the more than 2 months or 3 months. Actually, that's fine.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, but don't worry. It's not like the way we are thinking, team. You will be able to do it by yourself very easily. Don't worry about that. Okay, that's it.
Okay. And question: would you be able to share the material that you stated today, or is it?
Yes, I'm just consolidating some latest materials. I'm just waiting to get one more latest textbook. So I'll be sharing you next Saturday morning. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Before next Saturday morning. Okay, that's it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yep. Okay, then that's the whole thing. So you must be well prepared, or you must be ready for doing this labs in this way. Okay, that's it. Any other queries, team? Prashant is saying something? No, right? Okay. Okay. So let's start now, team. So today I'm just going to give you some introduction about cloud computing first of all, and then we'll basically go to the AWS part tomorrow. Okay, that's it. And team, make sure you have your audio properly. If I'm not able to hear, please take your audio as well. Okay, that's it. For some people, if your microphone is having some settings issues, you may not be able to talk, and I'll not be able to listen. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So first of all, team,
Did we lose you?
Looks like we lost him.
That is what I'm facing right, actually.
Yeah, even I'm not able to hear him, Prashant here.
Yeah, I'm not able to hear it too. So
Yeah, I thought it was my internet issues. Then probably like it is happening for everyone.
I think the organizer is experiencing a technical issue. A pop-up came in the top.
so are you guys all from India or?
Yeah, the pop-up is there on the top. It's saying he's rejoining probably.
Yeah, probably it's just give him a couple of minutes to rejoin. Let's wait.
Yep.
Meantime, how are you guys doing?
Sorry, who was that?
It's me. It's, how are you guys doing?
Oh, yeah. Great, thanks.
So are you guys all from India or different parts of the world?
I guess we have a mixed audience. Not too sure. I'm from India though.
Okay, okay.
I am from South Africa.
Nice, nice.
Hi team, sorry for that. My system got restarted suddenly. Sorry for that. Hope I'm audible now to everyone.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
So sorry for the trouble, team. Yeah.
No worries.
Actually, team, okay. Yeah, okay. So let's start now, team. So first of all, okay, we have to discuss about what is cloud computing. Okay. So why I'm going through the basics is because the basics is very important for you to learn if you want to go to some cloud platforms. Okay. First of all, we have discussed about the word called as cloud computing. Okay. So first of all, we have a word called as cloud, and then we have a word called as computing. So you can see that we have two words here. We have a word called as cloud, and we have a word called as computing. So understand the difference between these two first of all, then we will go to the basics. So what is cloud? Anything which we access via internet. Okay, anything which we access via internet is what you call as cloud. First of all, like for example, let's say if I'm accessing my Google account online, if I'm accessing my Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever things, if I'm accessing it online, we can call it as cloud. Like anything, we can say that anything. So anything which we access via internet, anything which we access via network or public network, we can call it as cloud. It can be a website, web application, whatever it is. So anything which we access via internet is called as cloud computing. And cloud, and what is computing? Computing means let's say now you're able to talk to me, now you're able to communicate because you have a laptop or you have a device, right? You have a CPU, you have a memory, you have a storage, you have a network. So because of these things, you're able to communicate with me, right? So you have a laptop which is having a CPU capacity, a memory capacity, a storage capacity, and you have a connectivity. So all these things are something which is helping you to connect to my or connect to this meeting, right? So that things which helps you to have an infrastructure, those things which helps you to do your job or do your IT or information technology requirements is what you call as computing. Okay, so providing the CPU capacity, providing the memory capacity, providing the storage capacity, providing the network capacity, providing all these things via internet, via public network is what you call as cloud computing. So if somebody asks you cloud computing, understand that anything which is delivered as a service or the computing factors which is actually delivered to as a service to the customers is called as cloud computing. To give you an example for this, what happens is, let's say now if I go to my AWS console, now if I go to my Azure console, what happens is in that particular cloud platform, okay, in that particular console, okay, in that particular console, I am able to get the servers, I'm able to deploy storage, I'm able to deploy database, I'm able to deploy all of these things. Okay, I'm able to deploy all of these things in the form of services. So the cloud provider provides you all these things. The cloud provider provides you all of these things. See this, if you can open this, you can see that I'm having a service called as EC2, I'm having a service called as Lightsail. So all these service you see here is providing you some kind of facilities from an underlying infrastructure. So the cloud service provider is having an infrastructure, and they are providing you all these things in the form of services, and that is what we call as cloud computing. Let's say, for example, now I am using my Gmail, now I am using Proton Mail, now I am using Facebook, now I am using LinkedIn. So all these things I am using, they are providing you these things from an underlying infrastructure. So this can be called as a cloud platform. Okay, this can be called as a cloud platform. So we have certain words to understand in this cloud concepts. We have certain small words to understand. The first word I want you to learn in the perspective of cloud computing is that whenever you work in a company, see, whenever we work in a company, we know that the company must have a infrastructure, right? Like, for example, let's say the company want to host some websites, the company may want to host some applications, the company may want to host some databases, the company may want to host some storage. So they want to host a lot of things like this, or they want to have a lot of things like this. So the facility to provide all these things is what the cloud is giving you. Okay, that's it. And definitely we have to understand why we have to go to a cloud platform. See, team, whenever a company is planning to or company is planning for a technical migration, or the company is planning for a new technology, like for example, let's say my company is planning to go to AWS, my company is planning to go to Azure. Whenever my company is planning for a transition like this, first of all, there is a word called as business requirement analysis or business requirement analysis. So we will see that if this particular transition, if adopting the cloud can give us some benefits. See, currently I'm running a business. When I'm running a business, my whole point here is I want to make sure that moving to cloud can be beneficial for my business or not. So first of all, we have to understand what are the benefits of cloud. So what is the first word you understand? Accessing the data or internet is called as cloud, and the cloud service provider provides you the compute capacity, storage capacity, network capacity, and everything to you in the form of services. That's what we call as cloud. And team, requesting all of you to keep your mics on mute, and you can talk whenever you want by unmuting it. Okay, that's it. So previously when I talk about the word called as cloud platform, most people say that, KRISH, actually cloud is not good, I don't want to go to cloud. The reason is because people are worried about the cloud computing security. But now what happens is people understood that moving to cloud can definitely give you a lot of risk, but the advantages we are getting is more than the risk we are taking. That is why people always say that nowadays almost 80% companies worldwide is using some form of cloud services. First of all, the first advantage I want to discuss about cloud is that we have a lesser capex and lesser opex. First of all, we have to understand what is a capex or capital expense. Capital expense. So I'll give an example, team. So let's say I am planning to build a data center, team. Let's say, for example, I am saying that I don't want to go to cloud platform due to some reason. I'm worried about the cloud platform security. So I don't want to go to cloud platform. So because I don't want to go to cloud platform, what I'm expecting is, okay, I want to build my own data center. Okay, I want to build my own data center. Tell me, team, what all things we need in that? Like what all technical or non-technical things we need in that? What is the first thing we need to have a build a data center in my own premises?
Well, you need to have an ISP, right?
You need to have the physical connections.
Dedicated
to have
space.
physical infrastructure. Yeah,
Dedicated space is gap.
Yeah, I agree with that. Then
uninterrupted power supply, continuous power supply.
Definitely. See that you told me a word called as uninterrupted. That's a very important thing.
Yeah.
So we need to have a power supply, but there is something there. There must be redundancy. That means
Yes.
that the power supply must be from multiple sources. That is, even if one source go down, we must be able to continue my business operation from the other sources, right? So power
Right.
supply must be there, and the power supply must be redundant. That means from multiple sources. Then what we need, team? Tell me.
Then you will need racks to host your servers or network
Before
equipment.
non-technical again. So before technical things, tell me what are other things?
HVAC, proper cooling and heat, and like
Definitely.
maintain.
Yeah,
We need to
HVAC
have a
requirement. Yeah.
HVAC, heat, ventilation, air conditioning. See, in a normal, when you work on a laptop itself, it is generating some serious amount of heat, right? When you have some huge amount of devices working in a data center, it can produce an enormous amount of heat, right? Because of the reason it can produce enormous amount of heat, what happens? We need to have a HVAC. What is HVAC? Heat, ventilation, air conditioning. We need to have a proper air conditioning system, and that also must be redundant. Why? Because if it's not redundant, it can basically fail, right? So what happens? We need to have a redundancy for that also. Anything else, team? Non-technical things.
Security.
Definitely, physical security is mandatory, right? See, because whenever you talk about security, the primary thing is we need to have a physical security. Then, what is next? What is next?
Fire safety, you know, fireproof building.
Definitely, fire and safety requirements. Definitely, because team. One more thing is there. Most people ask me that. So, KRISH, what is the first thing we have to consider while building a data center? Tell me, team. Can you tell me what is the primary thing we have to consider for building a data center? Primary thing.
The location.
Should not be easily approachable.
Resilience.
Okay. Primary thing.
Location.
Location. Okay. Others. What is the
Yeah, should
primary
not
thing?
be susceptible to too much natural disasters. Those.
Okay. Okay.
You need the
Anything
money.
else? Money. Okay. Okay. Yeah, definitely that matters. Anything else?
Capital investments. Environment.
Okay.
Environment. I need a place where I need to build up.
Consider
I need
first.
a place.
Okay. No, what we have to consider first? Yeah, I already have a
Management
space.
approval.
Okay, no. First of all, what is the first thing I have to consider when building a data center? Management approval is. I agree with that. It's secured and everything is there. But what is the first thing I have to do when building a data center? People safety. Don't forget.
So when you are building a data center, you have to yeah. So the first thing is hello. Yeah. So the first thing is you have to find a DR site. So when you're planning to build a data center, it shouldn't be more than one site.
Okay, got it. See, but what we have to understand is the primary thing we have to consider while building an infrastructure is that people safety. People safety means, so in any company, people always comes first. People, process, technology, people always comes first. So people face the personal human safety or the people safety, or for the people who is working inside that, the safety is the primary thing which matters. So this is the primary thing we have to consider while building a data center. And after this, all these things will come in picture. The first thing we will look into while building a data center is safety of the personals, the safety of the people. Okay, so like this, I agree with that. Okay, we have a lot of things now: physical security, power supply, heat, air conditioning. Then we have a fire and safety. So all these things are there. Then we need to have servers. We need to have storage. Then racks and racks. Then network devices, then structural cabling. Like, we need to have a lot of things like this. We need to have more and more things like this, right? So what is the problem with all these things? What is the problem with all these things?
Everything requires cost.
The cost, right? The cost is something which matters for everything. See, cost. So for all this, you have to spend millions of dollars. If you want to build an infra like this, you have to spend millions of dollars. So you have to spend a serious amount of money if you want to do all these things. That matters definitely. You need to have a serious amount of money. So you have to invest, okay, so you have to invest a lot of money on this, or a lot of things on this, when we plan to build our own infrastructure. Okay, I'll tell you why this is not worth it. I'll tell you why this is not worth it. The reason is because let's assume that I'm running a business. Let's say, for example, I am running a hospital. I'm running a company which for like a travel website. So whether if I'm running a hospital, or if I'm running a travel company, or if I'm running an application development company, so what is my whole intention? When I'm running a hospital, my whole intention is to provide quality healthcare to my customers, right? When I'm running a travel company, the primary intention is the mission and vision is to provide proper travel and tourism experience to my customers. When I develop a proper application, I want to make my application the best one in the market. So what happens here is, so my whole requirements is that I want to make sure that whatever my company's mission and vision, we have to work for that. But the problem is, when we go behind building a data center like this, I am spending a lot of money, time, and effort on managing this data center. And this is not what I am planning for. My company's intention is to work for the business. I want to invest my money. I want to invest my human resource and everything for my mission and vision of the business. I don't want to build a data center. My plan is to make sure that my company's mission and vision is satisfied. Like, for example, let's say, my intention is to provide quality healthcare to my customers. So what happens? I have to work for that. So if I appoint more people, if I spend money on building a data center, what is the problem there? I am going away very much from my actual requirements, right? That is what we had done. When you go to a cloud platform, the advantage is that this particular capital expense, okay, is near to zero. So we don't have to invest any money, or we don't have to have a capital expense when we go to a cloud platform. For example, let's say now I'm telling your team you have to create a AWS account. So within the next 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you'll be able to do that. So what we have to understand is, you don't have to spend money on any of these things. Okay, what we have to understand is, we don't have to spend money on any of these things. So what happens is, when you go to cloud platform, there is no capital expense. So you can ask, so KRISH, if there is no capital expense, what we can have an operating expense also, right? Or we can say OPEX. So team, what all things are there in the OPEX, team? Tell me, when you plan for a normal, I'm having a data center example. I'm having a data center. What all things are there in my running cost, operating expense monthly? Tell me, monthly operating expense. Tell me.
Human resource cost.
Yeah, labor cost,
Electricity.
human resource cost. Then
Electricity.
Then
Internet.
connectivity. Yes. That's all.
Maintenance.
Yeah, other maintenance.
AMC's maintenance, yeah.
Then the AMC cost, compliance cost, then taxes, then
Audits.
audits. I agree with that. See, lot of things are there. I have to spend money on lot of things every month. That is what you call as total cost of ownership. We have a monthly cost for everything, right? But when we go to the cloud platform, a lot of things can be reduced. So when you go to the cloud platform, you're having no capex and lesser operating expense. Don't forget, when you go to the cloud platform, the advantages, see, the cloud provider is already having the infrastructure there for you. So you don't have to spend money on investing on creating this data center. So what happens? The whole thing is there is no capital expense, first of all. The second point is, we have lesser operating expense because we are not having an infrastructure. I am utilizing the infrastructure based on a pay as you go model. Don't forget, I'm using my infrastructure based on a pay as you use model. That means I just pay for what I'm using. So for example, if let's say if I'm using for 5 hours, 10 minutes, 2 seconds, I can pay for 5 hours, 10 minutes, 2 seconds. So strictly I have to pay only for what I'm using. So what happens? I'm having no capex and very lesser opex when I compare to on-premises. That is a primary reason why people move to cloud. We can move all the capex to opex. That is why people basically move to cloud. The cost, first of all, the cost is the main reason why people move to cloud. You have lesser cost and more advantage. Okay, got it, team? First one. So team, when you study all these things, don't worry, whatever things I'm discussing today in this session, today and tomorrow, from next week onwards, we'll show you in real time. We'll work in the real time. So understand the concept now clearly, and we will be able to work on it. The second terminology is called as scalability. Okay, the second word is called as scalability. This is one of the main reason why people go to the cloud platform. Scalability. Let me discuss that in a more detailed way to you. So let's assume, team, I'm running a shopping site. Okay, I'm running a shopping site. Okay, So let's say, for example, this is my shopping site. My shopping site name can be, let's say, shopping.com. Okay, so I'm actually running a shopping site. Okay, I'm running a shopping site which is called a shopping.com. And what happens is when somebody called this website called a shopping.com, okay, when somebody called the website called shopping.com, this particular request is taken to the premises of the particular company, right? So when I call the shopping.com, what happens is the request is taken to a company or taken to the data center. So there is a load balancer there and they have multiple servers. Okay, so in my company I'm having multiple servers, server number 1, server number 2. Example, in the company they have multiple servers. Let's assume it is 2 servers. Okay, first of all, then what we have to understand is, team, when we have a shopping site like this, whenever a customer requests for a call this domain name, what happens, he is taken to this load balancer and either he will be served from this server number 1 or server number 2. Okay, so as of now this particular site is having a traffic of 100 customers per minute. Okay, 100 customers per minute. This particular shopping site is having a traffic of 100 customers per minute. And what we have to understand is, as of now, this particular infrastructure is able to support this 100 customers per minute. Got it? Okay. So let's assume that these guys are announcing a sale. Okay, this particular shopping site is announcing a sale for the next 2 days. So for 2 days, they are announcing a sale. Okay, sale. So what happens, team? When they are announcing a sale, what happens?
Traffic will increase. The traffic will increase.
Right. When they are announcing a sale, there will be a huge increase in the traffic. So what we have to do, team, when there is a traffic increase, like for example, let's say for this, there is a sale they are planning for 2 days, and they are planning to give give discount for every product. Like for example, they are planning to give some 20% discount for, let's say 50% discount for every product. So what happens there? The traffic will increase. So for that, what they have to do?
They need to increase the resources in order.
Yep.
They need to increase the resources. They need to employ more servers. They need to increase the infrastructure, right? See, as of now, they are having 2 servers here. As of now, all their requirements are met with these 2 servers. But what happens is, due to some reason, when they are announcing a sale for 50% off or some kind of serious discount sale, they are planning for that. What happens is, they have to manage or they have to add more infrastructure. See this? They have to add more servers to this infrastructure, right? Otherwise, what happens? It will go down. Okay, so let's say that, okay, they either have to buy the servers or rent out the servers anyway. But my problem here is, when they done all these things, okay, when they done all these things, what happens is, these particular servers, okay, they are expecting a traffic of 200 customers per minute. Okay, when the sale happens, they are expecting a traffic of 200 customers per minute. Okay, the sale is happening and they are expecting a traffic of 200 customers per minute, and they plan the infra for managing maximum 200 customers. So because the sale was so good, and when the sale started and it was so good, and what happened was, the actual number of customers came in the sale was 500. I'll tell you, team, normally the traffic is 100 customers per minute, and when they are expecting a traffic of 200 customers per minute when the shopping sale happens, and because the sale was so good that the number of customers came was 500. So in this case, what happens to the infrastructure? Tell me.
It will be affected.
What affected? What will happen?
The availability will be affected.
Okay.
They'll have a
Because they will
performance
not be
issue and
they will not be able to serve the customers due to the
right.
resource constraints.
Exactly. So what happens is, within the next few minutes, this completely server will go down. The domain will not be accessible. I think you have seen that case. Like for example, let's say when you go to some small shopping sites and all, right, when they're giving some offers and all, the site can go down sometimes. In India, I have seen that Flipkart was gone down some years back. Like the same way, the websites can go down because they are not able to manage the customers. Okay. So like the same way, this can happen for any kind of scenarios. That is where we have an option called as scalability. By having the feature called as scalability, the infrastructure I'm having is able to support any amount of customer requirements. I'll give an example, team. Now I'm having an infrastructure like this, and if this was on the cloud platform, if this particular infrastructure was on the cloud platform, and if we have configured the scalability, what happens? Whenever the requirement increases, this particular infrastructure will keep on increasing automatically, and whenever the requirements come back to normal shape, or whenever the requirement is less, what happens? The infrastructure will shrink back to the normal size. So understand that whenever my business requirement increases, okay, my underlying hardware also will get increased. Like my hardware capacity will also get increased, and whenever my requirements are normal or come back to normal size, what happens is it will shrink back to the normal. See, basically, you don't have to do it manually in most cases. Okay, basically, we don't have to do it manually when we do it. We can configure something called as auto scaling. When I configure something called as auto scaling, what happens is whenever my requirement increases, the servers will grow up to 1, 2, 3, like it will keep on growing, and whenever it is reduced, it will come back to the normal size. So what
Krish,
happens?
one doubt.
Tell me.
The scalability can be in two aspects, right? Say if we need to increase the servers, it can be done, or if you need to increase the resources inside the existing servers, that can also be done, right?
Yes, that is what you call as vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. I'm going to explain that. Yeah.
Got it.
So team, this is clear till now. So don't forget, team, scalability means I'm able to automatically increase or decrease my infrastructure based on my changing business requirements. Say, for example, to make it more effective for you, I'm just giving an example. So what happens is whenever my requirement increases, my infra will grow with me to meet my requirements. Whenever it's over, whenever my requirements are done, I'm okay with that. So it will basically come back to the normal size. So what happens is scalability can be a very much beneficial. I'll give an example, team. Let's say, for example, now I'm having a server in my company. Okay. So what happens is or let's say, for example, this is a server of a let's say uh, a tourist location. So what happens is when they have a server, in normal days, they have a very less amount of traffic for booking. But at the same time, when in the holidays, what happens? The number of customers who is trying to log into this website can increase, right? So those kind of immediate changing business requirements can be managed effectively with the scalability. Okay, that's it. And team, we have two types of scaling. Basically, we have more types of scaling, but normally we have two types of scaling. First of all, we have vertical scaling, and second is we have a horizontal scaling. So don't forget, we have a vertical scaling and we have a horizontal scaling. I'll give an example for that, team. We have a vertical scaling. What is vertical scaling? Let's say, for example, let me just show you a new thing here. So let's say you have a laptop, team. You have a laptop. When you have a laptop, and let's say you are having it's too slow. Okay, it's too slow, and you feel there is an issue with your hardware. So what you do? Like for example, if you basically go through the utilization of your laptop, you see that the memory is almost 90% consumed. So what we will do? When the existing hardware is not able to meet your requirements, what we will do?
Engage the RAM.
You'll increase the RAM.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll increase the RAM. When you feel like the storage is not enough, you'll add more storage. When you feel like network capacity is not enough, you'll add more network capacity. When you feel like graphics is not enough, you'll add graphics, right? So whenever you feel like your hardware or your server or your laptop is not able to meet the requirements, you will try to add more resources to it, right? Like for example, as of now, you can see that I'm currently having a server here. This is having some 4 GB RAM and some, let's say, dual core CPU. Okay, when this particular server is not able to meet my requirements, I will add more RAM to it. I'll add more storage CPU capacity to it. I'll add more network capacity to it. So what happens is adding the resources to the existing server is what you call as vertical scaling. Don't forget, adding more resources to the existing resources is called as vertical scaling. So I'm having a server in my cloud platform, when this particular server is not able to meet my requirements, I will add more resources. I'll add more RAM, I'll add more CPU, I'll add more storage, I'll add more resources to this existing server, is what you call as vertical scaling. Got it? But at the same time, we have a word called as horizontal scaling. The example I give you on the shopping site. Whenever I have a server here, whenever if the server is not able to meet my requirements, I will add more servers and make it a cluster so that they will be able to meet my requirements. This is what you call as horizontal scaling. This is what you call as vertical scaling. In vertical scaling, I'm not adding new servers. I am trying to upgrade my existing server to meet my business requirements. In horizontal scaling, I am trying to add more servers so that the cluster is able to meet my requirements. Okay, that's it. Clear, team?
KRISH, is it same like the scale in and scale out? Both are same, vertical and horizontal.
So in vertical scaling or in horizontal scaling, adding more servers is what you call a scale out.
Okay.
Reducing it back to normal is called a scale in.
Scale in. Okay.
And in vertical scaling, adding more resources is called a scale up.
Scale up, right?
Yeah, reducing is called a scale down.
Okay.
Got it, team? Any queries in this? Anyone? Karthika, Karen, any clear?
Could you please repeat one more time about scale in, scale out, scale up, scale down?
Definitely. So what happens is, team, let's say we have a server. Assume that we have a server. When we have a server here, what happens is, when this particular server is not able to meet my requirements, what I'll do, I'll add more resources to the server. I'll add more RAM, I'll add more CPU, I'll add more network capacity, add more graphics. So adding more resources to the same server is what you call as vertical scaling. Whenever my requirement increases, I am going to add the resources. That's what you call a scale up. And when my requirement is reduced, the things will be removed and it will come back to the normal shape. That's what you call a scale down. Clear?
Okay.
At the same time, when we say I am having a server here, when this particular server is not able to meet my requirements, I will add more servers like this to the cluster. This is what you call a scale out. Whenever my requirement is coming back to normal shape, I will come back to only one server. That's what you call a scale in. Got it?
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Others, any queries in this? Anyone, any queries? Hope you're able to follow what I'm discussing. Any queries, team? So we discussed about 2 points, team. We discussed about 2 points. The first one is we have a capex to opex. We don't have a capital. Team Alex, can you please keep your mics on mute? Thank you. So what happens is whenever we go to a cloud platform, we are reducing the capital expense. We are not having any capital expense, and we are also having very lesser operating expense as well. That's what you call as, that is a primary benefit of cloud computing. The cost can be reduced. The second thing is we have a scalability. The scalability means the ability of a business or ability of an IT resource to handle the growing or decreasing demands in a capable manner. So team, there is one more advantage for this. So KRISH, for configuring auto scaling, do we have a cost? No. For configuring auto scaling, there is no cost. Okay. For configuring auto scaling, there is no cost involved. Why? Let's say, for example, I'm having a server here. Okay, I'm having a server here, and when I'm configuring the scalability, there is no cost involved. There's no cost involved. Okay, so what matters there is only when the scaling happens. See, I have configured auto scaling doesn't mean that they will charge me anything. For configuring auto scaling, the cost is 0. But at the same time, when the scaling happens, you have to pay the money only when the scale happens. Like for example, okay, I have added more servers. This was there for 1 hour, and after the requirements, it come back to normal shape. It come back to only one server. So that particular time when the new servers are created, you have to pay for it. So for configuring scalability, there is no cost involved. The only thing is when the scaling happens, you have to pay for how much scaling was happening there. Okay, that's it. So that is why the scalability is one of the main advantage of cloud computing. It is able to meet your changing business demands. I'll give you one more point, team. So previously what happens is when you go to a company, when you go to organization, we have a lot of predefined requirements. In every company, we have a lot of predefined things. Okay, like for example, let's say even when we talk about the projects or the company's products and everything, whatever things we are having, everything is static. But now what happens is companies are trying to make it more agile. The company's requirements are keep on changing, keep on adding up, keep on, so it keeps on changing. So to meet this changing business requirements, we need to definitely want to have a scalability.
Hey, I
Scalability is
have a
mandate.
question. Sorry.
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, so when you mentioned about the scalability and when you were just showing when you're having two servers, right? So
Mhm.
the cost, the cost, okay, we only going to be paying for the services if the second server is being used
Mhm.
or just having it there. That's what my question is.
Actually, no. In that scenario, what happens is I was having two servers.
Yeah,
Okay, this was done in load balancing manner. This is always there. These
yeah,
requirements are always there, and this must be there for my. This is a mandatory thing. So I am paying for these two servers. But when these
okay.
two servers are not able to meet my business requirements, I will add more servers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Got it?
okay. Yeah,
That is what you call as scalability.
yeah, okay. But then see, some companies, they probably want maybe two or more servers, right? But
Mhm.
then the services that the server is hosting is not being really used. Okay,
Mhm.
so how does the cost come in play? Like, how does the cost play in that perspective?
Yeah, when you go to a cloud platform, whether Amazon or any cloud platform, first of all, we have to choose the services based on how much we are consuming. Let's say, for example, if I can go to any of my cloud service and take the resources based on my consumption. Okay, so that is the minimum I have to take. Okay, this much minimum will be there for every time. So I will take that particular minimum requirement, and I have to pay for that for how much I am utilizing. But after that, I will configure scalability. So what happens whenever I have an increase in the requirement, I have to pay for that only additionally, right? So even if I keep a server and even if I'm utilizing it or not, I have to pay for it. If I deploy a server and if I'm not using it, I have definitely pay for it. Got it?
Okay, okay.
Yep.
So,
Thank you.
so I mean, there is some baseline that we have to define first, and once we cross the baseline, I mean, will it be increased for few
Yes,
minutes or few hours, so we have to pay for that much amount, right? And then it will
exactly.
back to normal.
Exactly. So team, what we have to understand here is when we go to a cloud service provider, any cloud service provider, see, I know that every day I'm having minimum minimum 20 people working on my server. I know that minimum 20 people will be working on my server, minimum 20 people. So I will deploy the resource for them. Definitely it will be there. But at the same time, when this 20 people, like when the number increases, when we have more people, what happens? When we have more people to meet the requirements, I have to configure scalability. So the minimum business baseline must be defined, and we have to create servers and resources for that only. And whenever the requirement increases temporarily, like for some few hours or few minutes, whatever it is, you have to add some more servers. That's it. Okay, that's what is called scalability. Clear, team? Any questions in this? Anyone?
Chris, like you were talking about the scalability. Like, say, let's assume I'm enabling the scalability option. All right, you were talking about the vertical scaling and horizontal scaling, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in this case, like vertical scaling, like how do it get increased in this case? Though, do we have any option for, like, let's assume I'm selecting the scalability option. Do you have option to select the vertical scaling or horizontal scaling on that in
Yes,
AWS?
definitely. We can configure either vertical scaling or horizontal scaling, but there is a different use case for both of it. It's what we have to understand is for usually when in the any cloud platform, when you go to any cloud platform, when you say the word auto scaling or scalability, we are talking about horizontal
Correct.
scaling. Don't forget, when you go to any cloud
Okay,
platform,
gotcha.
when you hear the word called as scalability, you're talking about horizontal scaling.
Got you now.
Okay.
Okay,
But definitely vertical scaling is also possible, but in a different use case. I will show you in real time how it works. Okay, that's it.
sure. Thanks, Chris.
Yep. Because I want to actually show you the use case, how it works in the real time. So what happens is, see, now we are discussing about this in theoretical manner, right? Theory won't help. These things have to be run in the real time. So If you configure this properly, your cloud platform will be able to support any of your changing business requirements. Okay, that's it. That's it. That's what we call as team scalability. Any queries in this team? Anyone? Okay, so we discussed about that. We have a lesser cap, we have no capex and lesser opex. We have a scale lesser, we have a effective scalability also. Clear team? Any queries? Karthika? Anyone? Mindya? Rajat?
No. No.
Perfect. Okay. So the next thing is we have a word called as software and hardware refresh cycles and end of life events. So what happens is, let's say for example, when I go to on premises, let's say your company gave you a laptop, right? For basically you're working from home now, and most of the companies give laptops or some devices to the employees. And is that devices given you for a lifetime until you resign from the company? No, right? So you have to submit this laptop back by next 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, right? Like the same way for every company, what happens is when you buy any device, it can be a hardware, or when you buy anything, it can be a hardware, it can be a software, it can be anything. When you buy some devices, there is something called as an end of life. End of life means you're having a piece of hardware. Let's say for example, now I bought a laptop. So whether if it's working or not, the laptop is having a predefined lifespan defined, right? Like 5 years or 3 years, whatever it is, right? And by that time we have to remove we have to replace the hardware with a new hardware. We have to buy a new laptop. Why? Because that's a compliance requirement. So when you have these kind of software hardware refresh cycles and end of life events, what happens is both the same only. What happens is in the on premises, let's say for example, I am building a data center, I am building my own data center or my own infrastructure. Due to any reason, or let's say I spend a lot of money on this, after 5 years or after 3 years or after a particular time period, I have to replace every piece of hardware in this. I have to replace the servers, I have to replace the storage, I have to replace the network devices. So every device in this particular data center is having an end of life event. So what happens? So that also will give me a huge amount of cost. But when you go to a cloud service provider, when you go to a cloud platform, this cost is taken care by the cloud service provider. See, you don't own a data center, you don't work in a data center, you're just consuming it, right? Because of that reason, this is completely taken care by the cloud service provider. So all you have to know is you will get the resources you're paying for, except that the underlying hardware and all the backend things will be taken care by the cloud service provider. And the next very important thing is less HR, less human resource. So how is it possible, less human resource? I'll give an example, team. Let's say I'll give a simple example. Team, what is the job role of a DBA, database administrator? What is the job role of a DBA?
To configure the databases and to
Backup.
provide the operational support for databases.
Okay. So what happens is when we say the word DBA, we have a lot of things like database backup, database application, database failover, high availability, performance, CRC check. So we have a lot of job roles for a DBA. But when you go to some specific cloud services, almost all the activities performed by a DBA is automatically done by the cloud platform. See? So what happens, let's say for example, now we said all these things. When you go to specific cloud services, almost all these particular job roles done by a DBA is automatically done by the cloud platform itself. So what happens there? So what happens there is definitely the job role will be, the number of people we want to have a DBA is less. Or let's say for example, as I'm don't having a complete data center on premises, I don't have to have much physical security. As I'm not having hardware on my company, I don't want to have any people on this hardware server maintenance and all. So like the same way, as I'm moving to cloud platform, it can definitely reduce the number of human resources required for my business operations. Then the next one is compliance needs. Compliance needs means, let's say for example, when you deploy a data center in any country, when you deploy a data center, you have to follow a lot of guidelines, you have to follow a lot of standards. Like for example, You have to go through some audit reports. You have to go through some audits. You have to take some compliance requirements. You have to get some certifications if you want to own your own infrastructure. But when you go to a cloud service provider, these things are taken care by the cloud service provider, right? You don't own an infrastructure. So what happens? Because you don't own an infrastructure, this is taken care by the cloud service provider. So the compliance requirements can be reduced. And the cloud provides you a complete operational visibility. Don't forget, the cloud platform provides you with the complete operational visibility. And because of the reason that the cloud is able to provide you operational visibility, you can plan and you can effectively manage your infrastructure and have a DR solution. I'll tell you what is DR. Okay, that's it. So team, we have a word called as BC and DR. We have a word called as business continuity and disaster recovery. Okay, let's say team, we have a company, or let's say I am a company which is providing some services to my customers. Let's say, for example, I own Netflix, I own Amazon, I own Amazon Prime. So whatever, when I run a business, let's say I work in Intel, I work in AMD, I work in Microsoft. So any company. So for a customer perspective, what matters? I'm the customer. So for a customer, what matters?
The business should
Ravi.
services should be available. Availability is most important.
The whole thing matters is the quality of availability, the quality of service. Okay, so let's say, for example, Microsoft is telling you that from tomorrow onwards we are having this problem because of a technicality. So the customers don't want to hear any kind of technicalities like that. What matters to the customers is the quality of service. So that is where these two words will come in picture: BC and DR, business continuity and disaster recovery. So Tim, tell me, what is the difference between these two words called as BC and DR?
BC is something which we are preparing ourselves before a disaster happens.
Okay.
And disaster recovery is something how we are, like bringing up the services once something has happened.
Okay, perfect. Others?
Disaster recovery, I feel it's a subset of business continuity. So business, for instance, like this when this pandemic happened, right, and now the people have suddenly started working from home. Nothing has happened. I mean, it will be a natural disaster, right? Kind of a natural disaster that something has happened, but no, nothing has affected. Nothing has affected my servers. It's just that I cannot resume from office, but business should remain continue. So I can just work from internet connection and start working from office. I start working from home. Sorry.
Okay.
But in case of disaster recovery, disaster DR case, so like Shweta said, so like we have to resume our services back to normal. Not the I mean, if some example, some of my server goes down or some example my firewall goes down. So all that time that take to take that services back to the previous one. For example, back to the new firewall I will establish, or I will repair the existing firewall. So that recovery that has to happen is considered under disaster recovery. This is
Okay.
what I believe.
Yep. So team, I'll give you an example for this. Okay, you'll be able to understand more effectively on that. The same thing both of you said. Let's say, for example, team, let's say now your company is having a data center. Okay. Let's say, for example, you people are working in different companies. So for your companies, you are having your own data. Assume that we are having a data center. And all my customer requirements, like all my customer servers, all my customer storages, and all my customer requirements are currently met from this data center. Okay, like let's say this is currently in Mumbai example. So what I'm saying is, due to any requirements, due to any issues, what if this data center goes down? So even if this data center goes down, I want to make sure that my customers can work uninterrupted. Don't forget. So if this data center goes down, it can be due to any reason, planned or unplanned, whatever it is. Due to any reason, if this data center goes down, I want to make sure that my customers are still able to get the services. My customers are still able to work on the platform by planning for a DR site or backup site. We can call as DR site. Okay. I'll tell you once again, team. So let's say, for example, my customers are currently working from data center 1, and due to any reason, if this data center goes down, I want to make sure that I'm able to continue my operation from a backup location. That is what we call as business continuity. The ability to continue the business operations even in case of a disaster is what we call as business continuity. Don't forget. So I'm having a data center here. It crashed. It went down due to some reason. It is not working. I want to make sure my customers won't get any interruption. My customers are still able to operate. My customers are still able to access their data by having a disaster recovery site or backup site. So what happens? Let's say if this particular site fails, they can continue operation from this particular site. That is what we call as business continuity. I can continue my business operations even in case of a disaster. And then we have a word called as disaster recovery. Disaster recovery means, so now we know that when this particular data center has gone down, okay, this particular data center has gone down. So what it takes to bring this data center back to operation, is what we call as disaster recovery. I want to bring back this data center back to operation. That's what we call as disaster recovery. So don't forget, business continuity is the ability to continue business operations even in case of a disaster. And disaster recovery means that I want to resume operation. I want to recover a disaster struck site. That's what we call as disaster recovery. Okay. So for every company, for every business, for every kind of operations, this BCDR plan is a very important thing. But when you go to the, let's say, for example, I'll give a simple example. Let's say in my on-premises, if I'm having an infrastructure like this, what if this infrastructure goes down? If the infra goes down, definitely my customers will get affected, right? I have to have one more backup site here. I want to have a data center backup here. But definitely that is not a good idea for a normal company. Why? Because they have to spend double the money. They have to spend more effort. It's not practically feasible. But when you go to the cloud platform, the cloud provider is having multiple data centers on multiple locations so that they will be able to support any of your business requirements. And whatever disaster happens, you can ensure that your business will continue. That's what we call as insight and disaster recovery. The cloud provides you with multiple locations. We'll discuss that actually. So cloud provides you multiple locations worldwide. Because of that reason, even if one location completely goes down, without interruption, the customers can continue operation from a different locations worldwide. That's what we call as disaster recovery and business continuity. Okay, that's it. And the next word is a bit confusing for most people: security. I will say that this word can be a very much confusing thing. The reason is because in the cloud platform, some people say that, KRISH, the responsibility is completely with the cloud service provider. The security is the complete responsibility of the cloud service provider. Some people say that the responsibility is completely of the cloud service consumer. But understand that when you go to a cloud platform, security is something which we call as a shared responsibility. So based on the services you're taking, the responsibility can be shared with multiple or with either the cloud service provider or the consumer. So before going to a cloud platform, before taking a cloud service, what we have to learn first? Who is responsible for what? I'll give a simple example, team. Let's say, for example, if I'm going to a particular service, okay, the cloud service provider will manage these particular things, and these things will be managed by the customer. So what we have to understand is, certain things will be managed by the cloud service provider, certain things will be managed by the consumer. If you want to have an effective cloud governance, you have to understand that which all things are taken care by the cloud service provider and which all things are taken care by the cloud service consumer. And it's purely based on the service you're opting for. It's not generic, it's purely based on the service you're opting for. Okay, that's what we have to understand. So team, understand that we have these advantages. We have more advantages. Okay, I'm just giving you some examples here. So like the same way, we have a lot of advantages for the cloud platform. And these are the reasons, or these are the main reasons why companies always want to move to cloud platform. Okay, that's it. Team, go through this, ask your doubts.
So even if there is a shared responsibility model, still the overall responsibility still, I believe, still lies with the consumer, no, because ultimately they are responsible for the issues that happens on their end. For example, like customers don't know about the service provider, right? For example, my customers don't know what actually for which that kind of data center services I'm using. If, So for customers, you can say that like I am the fully responsible for whatever happened in my data center, whether it happens
Okay,
from my end, whether it happens from the AWS end.
not right.
But
Not right.
ultimately,
I'll tell you. See, what happens is, let's say, when talking about the data security is completely a responsibility of customer. Whether if I go to any cloud service, data security lies with the customer only. Infrastructure security, in whatever service you go, infrastructure security lies with the cloud service provider. So like things, certain responsibilities will always be with the particular entity, but some responsibilities can be shared. Like for example, when you go to a IaaS service, when you go to a PaaS service, when you go to a SaaS service, it can be varying. Okay, that's it. So for example, let's say data security is always a responsibility of consumer. Whatever cloud I go, data security is always a responsibility of consumer. It's all based on what kind of thing you're opting for. Okay, that's it. So we'll discuss about that in very much detail. That's what we call as service models. Okay. So when we go to a cloud service provider, whether Amazon or any cloud service provider, certain cloud service. See, I'll show an example here. So when you go to a service called as Amazon EC2, when you go to a service called as Amazon EC2, okay. When we say EC2, what happens? Okay. When we go for EC2, what happens is EC2 is a service which is basically having some responsibility for the cloud service provider, and most of the responsibility lies with the customer. When you go to a service called as S3, most of the responsibilities lies with the cloud service provider more than the customer. Like the same way, the responsibility can be shared or responsibility can be changing based on the type of service you're opting for. That we'll discuss in detail. Yeah, definitely. So team, one more thing, one more time I'll explain this DR. So what we have to understand is DR stands for disaster recovery, right? So what happens is, let's say we have an infrastructure. Due to any reason, if the infrastructure goes down, I want to make sure my business can continue operation. So for example, let's say I am currently having a laptop. If my laptop crashes, I want to make sure I can take the session. I can continue my training sessions from a backup device, from an alternate laptop. That's what you call as business continuity. And at the same time, how can I bring back my data center back to operation, or how can I bring back the disaster structure to operation is what you call as disaster recovery. Got it? Clear, Tulja? It's clear?
Hey, Chris, I have a question. Sorry.
Tell me.
Yeah, when you talk about data security and the compliance, right? Say like, right now we're in a COVID situation where people are working from home. Prior to COVID, they've been traveling during Christmas holidays and stuff. And say, for example, I traveled to India and I'm in India. Okay. I got stuck there, but then I work for the Canadian government. Okay. So what my question is, say for example, if I'm working from India, accessing the government data from India, and if there was a data breach and the government is using AWS or other cloud service provider, who's responsible for that?
Actually, whenever a data, see, I'll give an example for the question, team. Let's say, listen to this very careful, team, and I want all of you to answer this. Okay. Let's say, for example, we have a bank here. Okay. So when a bank is operating in India, which all authorities, or basically which authority I have to comply with?
GDPR and PCI.
RBI.
Then the IRDAI, a lot of things like that, right?
Anyway, that's in India. Okay.
Yeah, Indian authorities. I'm just talking about India. Any example is fine. So let's say so if it's US, it can be FISMA, whatever it is. So basically, for every country, there's some kind of laws like that. Okay. So the bank is operating as per the RBI guidelines or the IRDA guidelines and all. Okay. And what happens is this particular bank is hosting all the data on AWS. Assume. Okay. So bank is hosting all the customers' data in AWS. Bank is hosting all the customer information, data, applications, and everything in the AWS. So all the transactions, all the storage, everything happens in the AWS infrastructure. And we have a lot of customers also. So my question here is, whenever AWS do something wrong, due to some reason, accidentally or intentionally, if AWS copy your data to some different country, if AWS deletes your data, if AWS makes your data public, so due to some reason, if AWS do something wrong, who is answerable to the authorities and the customer?
The bank, because bank is acting as the data controller.
Yeah, bank.
The answer is the bank, because bank is the data owner. Bank is, as the bank is the data owner, the data owner is always responsible for the data. So see what happens here is, see, AWS has done something wrong. AWS has copied your data to some other different
Yeah,
countries.
sorry, Chris. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like AWS has promised the bank that whatever information that you're putting into the cloud is secured, right?
Mhm.
So it's promising to the bank that stating, okay, in their contract they say, okay, your data is secured in so many ways, and you will not get a data breach, or
Okay.
not you will not, but less risk, right?
Okay.
So that's why, like, say for example, like Capital One breach, right? Capital One itself, it's the whole thing is in the cloud, right? So,
Okay.
I mean, who would be that responsible? Like,
See, what we have to understand is, whether it's Capital One breach or anything like that, what happens is, when we talk about the team, can you please keep your mics on? I'm getting some noise. I'm not able to talk. Okay. So what happens is, when we go to the cloud platform, so let's say I'm having a contract with AWS, or I'm having a contract with Azure also. When I have a contract with cloud service provider as well, if something goes wrong, if a data breach happens, if some issue happens, by the end, when whatever service I'm opting for, the responsibility always lies with the customers. Why? Because it's my responsibility, because the authorities will ask me only. They will not ask the cloud service provider. I'll give an example. Let's say I'm currently operating out in Europe. So in European region, what happens is I have to comply with GDPR. So if I breach the GDPR, they will not ask the cloud service provider. They will ask you only. They will ask the customer only. Okay. So what we have to understand here is, the data owner will be responsible for the data. But at the same time, if you want to take the bank to the court of law, sorry, if you want to take the cloud service provider to the court of law, if you want to get a penalty, or if you want to impose a penalty to the cloud service provider, you must have a contract with the cloud service provider. Except that, if you store some data in the cloud platform, and if something goes wrong, to the authorities, you are all answerable to the, or you are the actual person who is answerable to them. Got it?
thank you.
Yeah. So whether it's a Capital One data breach or anything, what we understand is, team, whenever we are storing in the cloud platform, any storage, any data, whatever it is, when something goes wrong, definitely you can talk to them. We can talk to the cloud service providers, and we can do all these things. But when it comes for legal things, when it comes for data which is basically having some legal penalties and all, like sensitive data and all, it is always a responsibility of customer. Why? Because the authorities won't ask the cloud service provider. The authorities will ask you only, because you are the data owner. Okay, that's it. In the queries team, don't worry, team, we are going to discuss in detail about all these things. I'm just trying to give you an overview of all these things. We'll discuss about this in detail. Okay, that's it. So any queries in this, any queries we have in this team? Anyone? Any queries? So team, leave out security, we will discuss in detail in the upcoming slides. Okay, don't upcoming days, don't worry. Any queries in this team?
No.
Okay. So the next thing is, team, the next thing we understand is, so now we talk about the word called as advantages. So do we have any drawbacks on cloud platform? Yes. Like the same way cloud is giving us advantages, cloud is having a lot of drawbacks also. Tell me some drawbacks in the, when somebody asks you what is a primary security drawback in cloud platform, the answer is multi-tenancy. Don't forget, when you go to the cloud platform, somebody asks you what is a primary drawback of cloud platform, the answer is multi-tenancy. That means that you are sharing your infrastructure with multiple customers. Like for example, let's say when I go to a cloud platform, we are sharing our infrastructure with multiple customers. Like for example, let's say if I'm planning to build my own data center, okay, I'm not going to cloud. If I'm planning to build my own data center, so this data center is completely working for me and my requirements only. There is no multi-tenancy. I'm using my own data center and I am using it for my own purpose only. But at the same time, when I go to a cloud service provider, what happens? The infrastructure is shared with multiple customers. The storage is shared with multiple customers. I'm sharing the storage, I'm sharing the infrastructure, I'm sharing the whole thing with multiple customers, which I don't even know. That is what you call as multi-tenancy. That is the primary challenge when we go to the cloud platform. The second thing is, you are going to the cloud platform. When I say you are going to the cloud platform, you are copying all your data to a third party, right? You're copying all your data to third party. Who is the third party? Cloud service provider. You are actually copying all your data to the third party. That is, you're copying all your data to the cloud service provider. So what happens? How do you trust him? You can't trust him, right? There's no word called as trust. How can you trust a cloud service provider? There's no way you can trust a cloud service provider, right? So these are the primary risks we have when we go to the cloud platform. So I'll give an example, team. So when we go to a cloud platform, are we increasing our risk or decreasing our risk? When we go to a cloud platform, we are
increasing our risk.
Exactly. When we say we are going to the cloud platform, we are actually increasing our risk. So KRISH, if I am increasing my risk, then why I have to go to cloud platform? So that is where we have a word called as risk versus benefit. So if the benefit is more valued, or if the benefit is more than the risk you're taking, I repeat once again, if the benefit is more than the risk you're taking, and if the risk is a positive risk, we can take the risk. Don't forget, if the risk is more than, so if the benefit is more than the risk you're taking, and if the risk is basically okay with the risk appetite, and basically the risk is a positive risk, we can take it. I'll give an example for a positive risk team or negative risk. Let's say now I'm telling you, you people has to, or you have to go to China. Okay, I'm having a new project. You have to go to China for a new project, like the area which there is a huge COVID infection and all. You have to go there. I can give you some $10 million. Will you go? Just for money, will you go? I'll give you a huge amount of money if you go to a place where there is a huge disease spread, where it's very dangerous. Will you go there?
No.
Why? The reason is because
the risk is
life
high
matters.
when we compare with benefit.
See, we can't take the risk. It's a negative risk. Why? Because your life is gone. Your money is not more than your life, right? So what we have to understand is that risk is definitely not worth to take because it's a negative risk. You know that when you go there, your life can get affected. So because of that reason, the money is not worth it. So that is a negative risk. But now I'm telling you, so team, let's plan a new branch for our office in a new location. I know that when I start a new branch for my office in a new location, I may get some business or not. I'm taking a risk there. But what happens? That is a positive risk. See, now you have invested money for learning AWS. Now you're planning to write exam. You know that, okay, I'm spending some money on this. It's a risk. But the benefit we are getting is more than the risk we are taking. That's why I can go for it. See, definitely going to the cloud will introduce you a lot of risk. But if you know how to mitigate or manage this risk, how to manage the risk, if you know, and that is what we study in this course actually in the real time. So how to if you are able to know how to manage this risk of multi-tenancy, if you are able to know how to manage the risk of cloud platform, the cloud platform can give you a lot of benefits more than the risk you're taking. That is why I always say that cloud can give you more benefits. Okay, that's it. And definitely I'll tell you some more things, team. I'm just trying to give an introduction about everything and not going to any topics as of now. So understand that let's say I know this guys actually in 2015. Okay, when I basically went to certain certain companies, and when they had some requirements, I just told them, okay, we can move to cloud. They told me no cloud. We are not interested in cloud platform. The reason, because cloud is always risky. Because people were not aware of cloud platform. People were not aware how this cloud can benefit the business. But now what happens is 80% of the companies worldwide, 80% of the companies worldwide is using some form of cloud services. First of all, the second point is this COVID pandemic was there, right? This COVID pandemic was there. Due to this COVID pandemic, what happens is in this COVID pandemic, a lot of companies worldwide has moved to cloud. The cloud adoption has increased up to 30% more than expected because people started working from home. And when people start working from home, they want to make sure they were able to work effectively. They want to make sure they don't want people to go to the offices. So because of that reason, what happened? The cloud utilization increased or very much. I'll give a simple example, team. Let's say we have a platform called as GoToMeeting. We have a platform called as Zoom. We have a platform called as WebEx. We have a platform called as Microsoft Teams. We have all these things, right? So these people or these particular companies were supporting you for a long time, and suddenly when this COVID pandemic struck, what happens? The utilization of this particular applications increased almost 70% more, right? But how they are able to manage? Because they have a huge infra on the cloud platform. Okay, that's it. Those companies were not in cloud were suffering a lot. Why? Because okay, they are not able to manage the increasing customer demands. Okay, that's it. So definitely cloud can be an advantage, team, if you manage it very effectively. But more than that, what we have to understand is how you are managing it, how you are enforcing the security. So just I'll give you a break, team. Just before that, I'll just tell you a few more things. Okay. Most people ask me, Krish, why we go for cloud security? I'll tell you, team, to be honest, what happens is when I started working in cloud platform, I have seen that there is only one job role called as architect, cloud architect. There is only one job. There was only one job role in market called as cloud architect. But now you have more than 100 job roles in cloud, more than 100 job roles in cloud. And the people who is having cloud security expertise is very less. The reason is because, see, if I'm telling a person to deploy something in cloud, he will say, yes, Krish, I can do that. We basically go to the cloud platform, we say, take some services, we deploy it. It's very easy. But how to do it securely, how to do it based on the compliance requirements, how to do it based on the business requiremements, how to ensure the security, that is what we have to study in this course completely. Okay, so we have to do how to deploy the cloud platform, architect it, and secure it. Okay, that's it. Am I going too fast, team? No, right? You are able to follow, right? I hope I'm not going so fast. And don't worry, we are just covering the the overview only of all these things. Everything we are discussing, we'll be discussing during the labs also. And I want all of you to create your AWS account. Okay, I want all of you to create your AWS account. So let me do one thing. Let me show you how to create an AWS account now. Okay, first of all, now I'll show you how to create an AWS account. Then before tomorrow you can do that. Okay, that's it. So let's say, just a sec. So team, from now on, the console we are going to log in is this one. Okay, you don't have to do it now, you can do it later. I will show you how to do it now. Just an example I'm showing you. You have to go to aws.amazon.com. This is the website you have to go to, aws.amazon.com. Don't go to Amazon.com, it's a different thing. Go to aws.amazon.com. Okay, when you go to aws.amazon.com, you'll get a page like this. So you can see an option called as create an AWS account. See this? You can see an option called as create an AWS account. See this? So I can click on this. If you don't see this option here, some people may not be able to see this option here. If you don't see this here, very simple, go to my account, click on AWS Management Console. Both are fine. Either if you click on create account here, or if you click on my account, AWS Management Console. There you have an option to create. There also you have an option to create an account. You can click any of it, no problem. Okay, so I click on create a new AWS account. Click on create a new AWS account. So here they will ask you to enter your email address. You can don't use your corporate email address, just as we are using it for our learning purposes, use some personal email address. Okay, so I'm just creating a sample email. KRISH sample, this is not there, I'm just giving an example. Okay, so I put my email address and put some password. So password, I'm putting some, let's say for example, I'm just putting some password. Okay, just putting some password. Done. Then put your account name. So what is an account name? Account name is like just like a pet name for your account. It can be your company name, it can be your name, whatever it is. Let's say, for example, if I can put my company name if I want, or I can put my name if I want. Anything is fine, and you can modify it later. If you want, you can modify it later. As of now, I am putting my personal name, but we can when you're working for a company, put your company name. Okay, that's it, or your project name as well if you want. As of now, I'm putting just my name. Just I'm putting some name. That's all. So now you give your email address, you put some password. The password must be complex, and put your account name. Account name must be like a sensible name. Continue. It's okay. Because I am having a lot of account creations happening this week. That's why this was not a trouble team. So the next thing is they will ask you to enter your full name. Full name means if it's a see, we have two options here. Whether you're planning to create an account for your company or you're planning for a personal account. So don't worry. Either if you create any of these things, the console and everything you're getting is same only. The difference is when you select your business, they will ask you for your business address. When you select business, they will ask your company name and they will ask your company address. At the same time, when you select personal, they will ask your personal information. That nothing more, nothing else, no difference other than this. So as of now, I'm selecting personal. You can select anything you want, either business or personal. It's okay. It's up to you. Put your name. Okay, and put your contact number. I'm just putting some random number. So then you have to put your address, I mean country, like put all the information like this, put your address and click on accept. Go to step 1. It's okay. Just the next one is they will ask you to enter your billing information. This is where we have to be careful. Okay, so understand that team. When you create an AWS account, they will ask you to enter your card information. You can either use your credit card or debit card. You can use your credit card or debit card, both are fine. But understand that RuPay cards are not accepted. You can use either Visa or Mastro or Master or American Express. Don't use RuPay cards. It will not be accepted. Okay, it is not necessary to be in your name or anything. You can use any card, no problem. Okay, so you enter your credit card details or debit card details. You don't make a mistake here. It will show you error after that again for a long time. So just enter your credit card information, debit card information here. Take the expiration date, CVV, and all the other information. And if in this particular option, in this PAN option, you can put no. Okay, do you have a PAN card? You can put no as of now, and click on verify and continue. Once you click on verify and continue after this, don't forget, once you enter your card information and all, and once you click on verify and continue, they will take you to a bank login page. Don't forget, don't confuse team, don't worry about that. Let's say if I'm having an ICICI bank account, if I'm having an HDFC bank account. So when I enter my information here and click on next, you will be taken to your bank's website, and an OTP will come to your mobile phone, and you have to enter the OTP there. You will be charged ₹2. See, they will deduct ₹2, just ₹2, INR ₹2. And if you're outside India, it can be less than $1. So they will deduct a small amount from your account, and that particular money also they will refund you in the next 3 to 5 days. Okay, that's it. So they will deduct you either ₹2 or less than $1 if you're outside from India, and definitely it will be refunded back to your account in the next 5 to 6 days maximum. Okay, that's it. And once you've done this verification, the next window you're getting is they will ask you to enter your contact number once again. Okay, they will ask you to enter your contact number once again. So team, there is only one thing you have to keep in mind. Do not make a mistake while entering your card information. If you make it wrong, if you enter your card information wrongly, what happens is your account will not be active for a long time. And if any error occurs, or if you have any doubts while doing this, you can always ping me on WhatsApp. I can support you on that. Okay, that's it. So here what happens is, now you can see that they will ask you to enter your phone number and all. Also enter your phone number and everything, and they will ask you to enter the OTP you're receiving in your phone, or they will ask you to, when you get a call from Amazon, just enter this number you're getting here. It will change also. Okay, so what happens is, once your verification is complete, once this verification is complete, they will ask you to select a support plan. Okay, they will ask you to select a support plan. So what is a support plan? That's what we have to understand next. So team, the steps is clear till now. So what we have to do is, we have to, very simple, we have to enter our information, like it's, we have to just trying to enter your address, contact number, email address and everything properly, and enter your credit card information, debit card information, and after that just verify your phone number, and after that they will ask you to select the support plan. So what is support plan? Basically, we have 4 support plans. We have a basic plan, we have a developer plan, we have a business plan, and we have a enterprise plan. Okay, so don't forget, we have a basic plan, we have a developer plan, we have a business plan, and we have an enterprise plan. The difference is, there's no difference in the console. Whether if you go for any plans, anything like this console will be always same. Don't confuse. Whenever you go to any support plans in the cloud platform, the console will be exactly same. No difference. The only difference is, when you go to this different plans, the support you are getting from AWS can be different. That means that when you opt for a basic plan, that is what we have to opt for in our training. So when you go for a basic plan, okay, when you go for a basic plan, the cost is completely free. That means that you don't have to pay for the support. But the only problem is, no technical support. In the basic plan, there's no technical support. Don't forget, it's an exam testable point. Okay, when you go to a basic plan, you don't have any technical support. What you're getting is only support for your billing, account and cost management activities. Don't forget, your account activities, billing activities and cost management. There is no technical support. I repeat, there is no technical support. When you go for a basic plan, there is no technical support. So let's say if you have some issue with your AWS account, if you're billing, there are some billing disputes, there is some issue with your limit of usage. So for those kind of things, you can always use the basic plan. If you want to get technical support from AWS, you have to go for either developer plan or business plan or enterprise plan, but that is chargeable. The starting cost is $100, or in the business enterprise plan, it can be $1,000. The cost is very high, so don't use that. Now, as of now in this training, you have to use the basic plan only, because I'm there to support you for technical things. So you can go for basic plan. Okay, that's it. And you're done. That's all what we have to create for your account. And don't log into the account after this. Once it is completed, do not log into the account. Wait for at least 2 to 4 hours. I'm making you to wait. The reason is because the account will be active immediately, but I am telling you is, you have to wait for 2 to 4 hours. At least 4 hours you have to wait. The reason, minimum 4 hours you have to wait. The reason is because your bank has to verify your identity from you. So your AWS has to verify your identity from your bank. So it can take some time. So I strongly recommend you wait for at least 4 hours before you log into your cloud platform. And how do I know if it's active or not? So simply you log into your cloud platform. You log into your cloud platform with the credentials you're having, your email address and password. You enter your log into your cloud platform and try to open some services. Try to open some services. When you open the services, if you're able to see a screen like this, your account is active. But at the same time, if you see a message that your account is having some issue, if you see a message called as your account is having some issue, what we have to do is, we have to just verify what happened, and we have to contact AWS support in the worst case if something goes wrong. Okay, that's it. But don't worry, while you do this account creation, if you face any challenges, you can ping me, no problem. I can support you on that. Okay, that's it. And don't use the same credit card, or don't use the same card information for multiple accounts. Only use one card for only one account. Okay, that's it. Don't use the same card for multiple accounts. It can show error. Okay, that's it. Clear, team? This is how we create AWS account. Any queries in this account creation? Anyone?
Not for now. Maybe when we try to create it, then it will be asked.
Yeah, it's pretty much easy, team. Don't worry. It's not a big deal. It's very easy. Okay, that's it. And one more thing. So what I am expecting from you additionally from this course is, so what is our end date of this training, team? Proposed end date? Let me see just.
18th of April, I guess.
19th April, right? Yeah, 19th April. Okay.
18th.
So actually
Yeah.
the 19th April is the end date. So by the time you will be able to understand a lot of things, you will be mastering a lot of things. But more than that, what I'm expecting is, by this time, I want you to learn a few more things, like learn Azure also. How do you learn Azure? I'll tell you what all things you have to learn or what all resources you have to use. And either after this or before this, you have to learn Azure also. Don't worry. Once you learn AWS, you will be able to see and understand Azure console also very easily. It's very easy, but at least learn the Azure basics. Why? Because those people who at least know 2 cloud platforms can get more benefit when they go to a company actually. So I strongly recommend that you have to learn one more cloud platform as well. Okay, that's it. That's my suggestion for you. It's not, you don't have to go for a certification and all, but understand that you have to just get the skills. So tomorrow, if there are some requirements coming up, you'll be able to deploy it in Azure as well. Okay, that's it. See, I am a consultant. So what happens for my requirements, there can be a lot of companies will approach me for different cloud platforms. So in that case, I want to suggest them solutions. I have to give them solutions, right? So I have no multiple cloud platforms. Like the same way you have to also do that. Like tomorrow, if you work in a company or if you plan to get into cloud profile, the requirement coming up, you can't go to AWS only. You have to sometime go for other cloud platforms as well. Okay, that's it. Katie, that's it. So the first thing we have to do is you have to create an AWS account. And then once you create that, tomorrow we can continue the session. And tomorrow we'll discuss about we will finish the cloud basics. We have different cloud service and deployment models. We'll finish the cloud basics. And from next week onwards, we'll start the AWS topic specifically. And don't forget, we have a lot of labs to do. Spend at least 1 hour per day. Other than the weekends, every day spend at least 1 hour so that you can do more and more labs. How much more you're interested, that much more labs I can give you on that. Okay, that's it. Okay, team, that's it. So please start creating the account now. Yes, it's already shared to you, bro. It's already shared to you, bro, in that particular email they give you. But I am not sticking on to that names only. We are going to have more things to discussing that actually. Okay, that's it. So now create an account, team. I'll wait for your update. Create an account now itself. Okay, that's it.
KRISH, have you started the WhatsApp group?
No, I'm just send me a hi on WhatsApp. I will create the group once I have finished session. Okay.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
I just let me see if all of you ping me on WhatsApp. So I just got from only a few people. Team, others who didn't ping me on WhatsApp can ping me now. I'll just add you to the group. Okay, that's it. Okay, I just got from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got from only 8 people. Others, send me a hi on WhatsApp with your name. I can add you to the WhatsApp group. I hope all of you got my number. Yeah, you can just send me a hi on WhatsApp. I'll add you. Okay. This is my number, and send me a hi on WhatsApp. I'll add you. Okay. What we are discussing is, so now what we can do is just create an AWS account now. I'll wait for update. Okay. Create your AWS account, and from tomorrow onwards we can start our topics. Okay, that's it. And this week I'm not going in a hurry. I'm just trying to give you the complete understanding of the cloud basics. Okay, that's it. Do it now, team. Either you can stay or you can exit, no problem. Finish, create your account and you can exit. Okay, that's it. Perfect. Others, you can do it now. I'll wait. Karthika, please verify your account. Just open the services and try to open some service. Like just try to open the service and see if you're able to see the console and all.
Krish, one small question. Once the account is created, for how long it would be valid? I heard
So
like
account, it's
it
for
is valid for
lifetime.
12 months.
No, it's for lifetime. And what happens is after that, for one year, you have a lot of free tier. We have something called as a AWS free tier. And after that, it is chargeable. That's the only difference. Okay.
Okay, so free account is only for 1 year.
1 year. And see, let's say, for example, I take an account. And after 1 year, it is not free. Doesn't mean that you are getting charged. You're getting charged only if you're utilizing something. See, for example, let's say my account. This is my training account. So in this account, you can see that I'm having some cost here. See this? I'm using it daily. So I'm using it daily for teaching people. See, I'm getting some cost. This is the cost I'm getting this one. See, it's very simple actually. This is after 1 year.
Okay.
The only thing you have to keep in mind is when you do a lab, whenever you do the lab, finish it. And once you finish it, delete the things you're creating. That's a main principle we have to keep in mind. Do the lab, remove it. Remove the things you have created. That's the main thing. Don't forget. Don't keep it actually. If you
Krish,
keep it, it can be chargeable. Tell me.
Krish, Prashant here. I had one account earlier, so can I use that same email ID and login?
No. Don't use the same email ID for that. Okay.
Okay. Then I'll create one. Okay.
So others, please do it now. And I'm not using the slides team. So today's and next day's slides, I can basically share with you. I can share the PDF of the slides. And from next week onwards, we're not going to slides. We are discussing the topics in a more real-time way. Why? Because the slides is boring actually. I don't like to discuss with the slides. I will give you the concepts and everything from my perspective, and I can share the notes also. Okay, that's it. Do it now, create it now, team. I'll wait for update. So team, those who have created the account can exit the training, no problem. It's already that's all for today, and tomorrow we can discuss the rest of the topics. Okay, that's it. Yeah, you'll get the recording, bro. You'll get the recording by Monday. Okay.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is like, say for example, the topic that you're going to be covering next weekend classes. Can you
Okay.
just share the what's it called, the slides or document, and then we could
Yes,
just
yes, definitely.
do.
No, definitely.
Okay.
I'll share the slides today. Okay. And from next week onwards, we are not having the slides. We are discussing the. So what I'm doing is when I'm discussing topics, I'm writing the key points in the notepad, right? I'm sharing the notepad with you directly. Okay, in the group. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So I'm like, I'll show you an example. So what I'm doing is when I'm discussing some topics, I am actually creating a notepad. Like I'll show you an example here. Let's say I just open a notepad. I'll type the key points and everything, and I'll just make it a file and share it to you. That's all.
Okay.
Yep. Because the plan is right. If I only go for the slides and all, it can steal a lot of time, and by then you will not, it's like just a theory session. It won't give you any benefits. So more than that, I'm planning to give you a complete hands-on, so you'll be able to understand everything very clearly. And team, if you have any concerns or queries, you can always ping me. No problem. We can have a call. No problem. Okay, that's it. Cool. Do it now, team. Do the labs. Sorry, do the account creation.